Welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast, where we are finding hope and healing one episode at a time. No appointment needed, no rubber gloves, and no coping. Just a healthy dose of life lessons to help equip you for this wild journey we call life. Hey everyone, this is a friendly reminder that we are here for entertainment purposes only. We may not even be that entertaining at times, but this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor, check with your healthcare professionals before making any lifestyle changes or medicine changes. What we're talking about is our clinical experience and what we've seen. And so if you really want our advice, you can consult us. You can actually consult me as a doctor, or you can consult my guest and get all your questions answered. But we can't give free medical advice because we can't pay our bills with that, but we can help to educate you a bit and allow you to think a little bit. And always reach out to your medical professional before making any lifestyle changes. Thank you. I am so thankful for our sponsors who help bring these stories to you today. Aruna, you're going to hear about Aruna, a lady who I've been taking care of for a little while. She's turned her health around, and she's used our sponsors' products to get there. You're going to love her story. She's such a sweet person. If you have a chance to look at her on YouTube to see her face and her smile, that will be worth your time. Aruna is 74 years old and went with me to Guatemala, and she had a huge impact on the people there. And our kind sponsors here are bringing her story to you. Health code, gethealth.com, and we have a discount code metabolic health, METHEALTH. That will give you a discount. You could also go to our website, ArizonaMetabolicHealth.com, and we have links to both Health Code and Keto Mojo, who also has helped me a great deal over the years with getting patients healthier and myself healthier. So, and also Health Code, thank you. I just made your brownies this weekend, and they were a big hit with my friends and family. The chocolate macadamia, really good, and I fooled them all. No one thought it was low carb. They were surprised I was making non-low carb stuff. And Keto Mojo, thanks for all you do, for keeping us on track, allow us to measure our sugars and our ketone levels to make sure we're staying on track. So thank you both so much for bringing this podcast, this episode to our listeners. And, it really does mean a lot that you believe in getting these stories out and helping people to live happier and healthier lives. So thank you. Enjoy this episode. Have a great day. Hello and welcome back to the Life's Best Medicine podcast. Today this is my hardest guest, I think, to get on. She's very quiet and timid, but we're gonna get her talking. This is my patient Aruna. Aruna went with me to Guatemala. She said, "Hey doc, I'm gonna go with you," and she is such a light and was such a great addition to the trip. So I wanted her to share her story. And also, Aruna, tell people your story, like just going back, like growing up in India, what it was like, and how life has dealt you some struggles and things like that. And a lot of people listening have had, some hard times where they're going through it right now. And you're a survivor, and you always smile. You're always smiling, probably more than me. And people accuse me of smiling a lot. So Aruna, welcome. It's an honor to have you on.
Thank you, doctor. I'm so glad to be here. A little nervous, but I'm okay.
Yeah, tell people your story. Go back to India, like as a kid, and
I was born and raised in India. 74 years ago, times were different. I was raised in a middle-class family, and life was not difficult for us, I have to say. I mean, I don't remember it as being difficult. We were very, not religious, but we were Catholic. We were raised Catholic. Parents were very staunch Catholics. And we were raised sent to school in a convent school. It was, good education. Life was so different if you think about it compared to America. It was simple. It was very simple. It was carefree. Of course, I was young, so it was carefree. we only knew what we had. We really didn't realize, I think I don't realize what we didn't have. We knew what we had. It was good. There was always wonderful food on the table. That was the most important part of our life. Everything's revolved around food. It was breakfast in the morning, some snack at 10 o'clock, lunch, and then tea at 4 o'clock. Then it was soup time at 7 o'clock, and then dinner at 8. So we ate a lot. We ate a lot. But we didn't eat, um, I don't know, what we ate was always homemade. There was a lot of coconut in our food. There was rice. Every meal, there was rice in some form or another. A lot of coconut, spices, and meat. Breakfast was usually a little egg or a porridge, what we called a porridge. It was oatmeal and a little milk. And then 10 o'clock, we always had a snack. Or if we were not at home, if we were in school, then we always took a snack to school. We didn't really buy anything in school. We took a snack. And then lunchtime, although we were far away from home, for our school was quite a distance, our parents used to send us food in the afternoon. There was this very special system of your home food coming to you. It was picked up by somebody, transported by somebody else, delivered by somebody else. And yet every day we'd get our food, hot food, home cooked hot food at lunchtime. So, I mean, that was normal life. And then went to college, finished school, went to college. And then I left India in 1971. I lived in Kuwait for 15 years. My husband was in Kuwait, so I went to Kuwait and then lived there for 15 years. I was a stay-at-home mother. It was a conservative way of life there. I didn't go anywhere really. It was all very small. The people you met at work were people you associated with outside work, pretty much. It was a very small community. So I stayed there for 15 years and then I came to America. And in America, a complete change. I was in America, I didn't know a soul. I didn't know anybody. I was here with my two daughters. And at that time I got married. I was divorced and I got married again. That's why I came to America. I married an American. And I was here with two daughters, didn't know a soul, could speak the language, I could speak English, but I had to begin doing things that I'd never done in my life before. And that was a challenge, but yeah, I was up to it. I was younger, I was up to it. I had never written a check in my life. And here I had to balance the checkbook. I had to write the checks. I had to check every piece of mail that came in, and my husband wasn't around. He had gone back to the Middle East. And every day I'd call him and say, okay, I got these letters. This one refers to you by your first name. And he'd say, throw it away. It's junk mail. I said, can't be. It can't be. It has to be something that has value. He said, throw it away. And that's how I learned to get rid of junk mail, slowly but surely. But it took time.
Yeah, that's an important skill.
Oh my goodness me. They make it so personal. And when you're not used to this kind of mail, you really feel you're throwing something valuable away, something that you're overlooking, Anyway, and then I was here my kids went to school. I went back to college, got my associate's degree, got a bachelor's degree, got a master's degree. And then 6 months after I went to work for the county. And 6 months after I got my master's, I retired at 50.
Wow.
But
that's you, right?
It was good. You. It was good, my mother always told me, she says, when you get older, all you need is good health. There were a lot of things she used to say to me. I just not pay attention to it. I'd hear it, but not pay attention to it. But now all those things come back. She used to emphasize with me how important good health was.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on my other podcast was, they say the healthy people have 1,000 wishes, but sick people only have one, right? See? I mean, you really health is really important. A lot of us, like we abuse our health our entire life. And And we just don't really appreciate it until it's
We
gone.
take it for granted. We
Mhm.
just think it's going to be there. And that's not the way it is. We have to really take care of it, really. As you get older, you begin to realize all these things, all the things we did and when we were younger, it's forgiven. But now that we are wiser, we have to pay more attention. So, yeah. Anyway, so then I retired, went to India, back to India. My husband was from Boston, but he said, if you want to go and live in India for a short time, let's do it. And I was so happy. So we went back and lived in India for 9 years. We would be back and forth. And he didn't eat any Indian food, never touched the thing. But I
Wow.
was just so happy to be back there.
Oh yeah.
And I did put on a lot of weight while I was there because life is different. At that time, it was, you always had people to do things for you, somebody to come and clean your house, somebody to cook for you, somebody to take care of the garden. So I wasn't the kind of person to sit around. I was busy every day. I'd be working with them in the garden, but I enjoyed that food. I mean, I would be eating, just loving it, and I enjoyed it. And I didn't look at if it was doing me any harm. I knew I was putting on weight, but other than that, I did not have any idea about metabolic health or that I might get diabetes. It wasn't something that entered my mind. But anyway, we came back after 9 years because he wasn't too well. And then the next few years, I just spent taking care of him. He had Alzheimer's. So I took care of him for many, many years. And then after he passed, right after he passed, I decided it was time that I pay more attention to my health. And I loved walking. So I used to walk every morning and I would begin listening. I used to listen to my music. My music just took me to places of peace always. So I enjoyed that. But I said, okay, now walking and listening to music is not just going to do it for me. I need to learn about what I need to do, how I need to do, when I need to do. So I started picking up podcasts here and there. I listened to some carnivore, I listened to keto, and then I came upon low carb. And to me, I tried a carnivore a little bit, but it just wasn't for me. It was something that would be difficult. So I listened to low carb and I said, you know what? The first thing that kind of struck me, one of the things you were talking about, and it was with Dr. Jason Pang about fasting. And I thought, I do fasting without even thinking about it. It's just something that I do naturally because I eat dinner, get up in the morning, too busy to even think about coffee. It's 11 o'clock and I haven't had a cup of coffee. And I said, oh my gosh, I think I can do this. So I started doing the intermittent fasting. And it seemed very easy to me. It's easy. But what I did was when I did eat, I would eat everything that I shouldn't eat in that short time period, thinking, okay, the rest of the time I'm not going to eat. And then very quickly I learned this is ridiculous. I don't need to do that. So I kind of, tamed it down. And then that's how I got into the fasting part of it. And of course, listening to the low carb podcast, every time I listen to it, all your guests, there's always a little something I could take away. And I would try it. Some things I could do, some things I couldn't do, but I did the best I could. And I began to feel pretty good. Nobody was checking me for anything. I didn't go to the doctor because I wasn't sick. I didn't have any complaints. So I didn't really go to the doctor. I went to one annual checkup, all the normal blood work and pap smear and all that stuff, but everything was always normal. But my weight was not where I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a little lower than that. So then I stumbled upon low carb MD. And then I went and I started listening from the first episode. And I began listening, and just the things y'all was saying and telling us, like everything is not written in stone. You have to modify, you have to change, you have to make it fit you and see what works for you. And that's what I started doing. And then I decided, okay, now I'm listening to these doctors. I think I need to go and see one of them who can tell me that what I am doing for myself, I'm doing my own thing. I need to know that I'm doing the right thing. and who would do some tests for me because my regular doctors I know wouldn't do that. That's how I found you, doctor. And I
And the
came,
rest is history, right?
yeah, I came to San Diego, made that appointment, and I came and saw you and sat with you, and you explained so many things to me. And you told me at that time, there was a couple of things you said to me that will always remain with me. And I think that has made my life a little easier. You said, I told you what I was doing. I love quinoa. I love certain things. I loved rice. I cut it down a little bit. But after I told you all that, you said, and you had done some tests. You made me take some tests and you had run some blood work. Then you told me, if I did what you're doing, it wouldn't work for me. And then you said, because I eat certain things, I still eat certain things, but it doesn't affect me like it might affect another person, or like you said, it was you. So I said, okay. And you said what I was doing was okay. We made small modifications, which was fine. And then at the end of our conversation, you said, Aruna, you really don't need to come back to me. What you're doing okay. We can just do a few tests now and again and, be in touch. And I thought those were the sweetest words I'd heard, honestly. I said, how kind, how nice to hear somebody say, whatever you're doing is working. And you knew it by whatever tests you ran and stuff, and you saw me and my weight and whatever else. And I thought, okay, so I didn't come to you for a few months. I'd just be in touch and now and again. And then afterwards, I started actually, I said, nah, I need to go and see this doctor. I need to talk to him at least just to keep going. I needed that little, fire under me, a little bit of encouragement, because I was doing this on my own. There was nobody else in the family doing this. None of my friends were doing it. Nobody I knew was doing it. And I was doing it my own way. So that was a kind of little anxiety also. Anyway, I began coming and I began talking to you. And then in one of your conversations, you said you go to Guatemala. And you said it quite a few times. And I thought, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. That was something I always wanted to do, a mission. I never dreamt I always thought it would be somewhere in Africa for some reason. I have no idea why, but that's what I thought. I went to Africa, but not on a mission. And when you said you go to Guatemala and this and that, and I had said to you, I said, Doctor, how come you go to Guatemala? Can I go? And you said, do you want to? And then while we were talking, you sent an email to Heather. And that very evening, she responded to me. And that set the ball rolling. Within 3 days, I was in. It was so amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, I want to go, I want to go. I was like, well, that's not good timing or this. And you're like, I'm in. And you were traveling to India. You had a lot going on at the time. And I said, okay, we'll see, and then you end up like, I'm going. Here I am. And what an amazing, even before that, just taking one step back, the importance of community. I think that's one thing. And one of the other amazing things that's happened along our journey was, we do our Zoom meetings every other Wednesday night, and you would join, and people loved you, and you shared and encouraged and help people. And then one lady said, I just can't get motivated. And, I want to, how come you guys get to go for walks in San Diego, but I'm in Riverside? And you said, oh, me too. Where about? And then, how you two connected and, doing Zumba online. And so you're a go-getter. You've always, you motivate people, and you love community and helping people. And you also do volunteer work, right, at the hospital. And so you're engaging a lot. And just seeing your spirit, I was like, oh, she'll be a great addition if we can get her there. And then you wanted to go. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. It was always a dream of mine to go on a mission. Yes. And when you said this other patient of yours, we connected on one of your Zoom calls, and I got in touch with her, and I said, you know what? It started with COVID. My sister and I would talk every day she's in England, and we'd talk. I wanted her to stay at home. I was so worried she would leave the house and go. So I would call her at odd times to catch her at home, to make sure she's at home. And then we'd talk for an hour or two. And then I started saying, you know what? We talked so much, we're just sitting, why don't we stand up and dance? Because both of us love to dance. That's what we did. So for 1 hour, we'd be just dancing, whatever dance, foxtrot, whatever, just swaying to the music. And then I said, you know what? let's put a little bit of oomph into it. So we do the exercises with music. And that's how we started. That's how I started with my sister. And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, you'll do that. Can I join?" Sure. That way we got 6 people together at one time. And at one time we were 8. One in England, one in Montreal, one in Toronto, one in New York, 3 of us in Riverside. I mean, it was crazy, but it was fun. And and it was not just the physical exercise. It was just that coming together at a very difficult time. All of us were so isolated. So that little few minutes we had, and all of us enjoyed music. So it was really, really good for the soul and good for the body and good for the mind. It was just a good thing. So
Yeah,
we
and
did
be able
that.
to connect and spend
Yeah.
time and enjoy each other and laugh and know you're not alone. I mean, a lot of people were so isolated that, just seeing a human face was a big deal.
Yeah.
It's real. People don't realize the impact it had on our senior community for sure.
Yes. 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 It was a very difficult time. So that's what we did. And then
Let's step back to another difficult time when you lost your husband. How did you lose hope for a while? How did you respond? How were you feeling emotionally?
uh, difficult
Yeah.
because my whole life was centered around him for many, many years, for almost 13 years. I took care of him. And I did it full time, all by myself, except for the last 2 years. I got some help, and they were amazing. My caregivers for my husband, 2 of them, a mother and daughter, they would come in different shifts and take care of him. It was so amazing. And they would encourage me to get out of the house, which I didn't want to do. It'd make me go out and just go and have a cup of coffee, just go and do some shopping, go and get out. And then I began to feel more confident that they would do it. Of course, every woman feels that only she could do the best for her husband or whoever she's taking care of, and that's natural. But then I began to realize that I really need to get out. And my husband's doctor told me, if you do not find something to get out of the house, you will not last. You will drop dead.
And that's
And
so
that
true.
really woke me up. And I said, you know what? If I'm dead, who's going to take care of him? So I began to get out. And then I used to just go out just to the store for half an hour and come back. And then I used to go out in the evenings. I found a dance session where they had ballroom dancing at the senior center. So every Thursday I would go there. And I began to loosen up and feel so much more relief. And, being a caregiver is so difficult. It's so difficult. Only a caregiver understands. And when you do it 24/7 for years and years and years, it takes a big toll. Takes a big toll.
And especially with dementia, because it's such a hard, terrible disease, and seeing someone, that their nature and seeing them decline. And just hearing you talk about your husband was very heartwarming to me that, going through all that, they used to have the love and the bonding, and that, so many people when things get hard, they just leave. They don't stay for the whole duration, and you stayed and you got help, and then you decided you had to take care of yourself. So that says a lot about you as a person too.
Yeah, it's so important that we tend to forget. Our women always, we put ourselves right at the bottom of the list. And but that's just being a mother, being a wife. It's a natural thing. But yeah, we have to take care of ourselves. We really have to. And then when my husband passed away, after that, decided I'm going to take care of me. That's when I started listening to Low Carb MD and coming and seeing you.
And so then we culminate, get you all the way to Guatemala, across down south, in another foreign land that you've never been to before. So what was that experience like for you?
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? Okay. First, it was all excitement. Okay, I'm in, and what am I going to do? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. Yeah, I volunteer at the hospital. I can do a few things around there. I would, have med rooms and stuff like that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go and do whatever they want me to do. I'm willing to clean the bathrooms if that's what it calls for, honestly. And then, like the excitement was there, and then the anxiety. I didn't know anybody in this group. This was a big group. You were the only person I knew. And I couldn't even attend the meetings y'all had because I'm here so far away in Riverside. And y'all said, okay, a Zoom meeting is okay. But that it's difficult, because I'm putting myself out there. I don't know people, and I'm not an outgoing person really. I'm kind of shy, reserved a little bit. Anyway, the day we met at the church and we sat in the bus, everybody, and it's all dark kind of. So we go to the border, everybody's saying hi. And then I realized there were a
Y-
lot of other people that hadn't met everybody else. There were a lot of
Yeah,
new people to
I
the group.
think 85% of the people were new. Like we hadn't known, like most of the people I didn't know, obviously Mark
Wow.
Hernandez and the doctors and the nurses, we all kind of worked together before, but a lot of the people going, that's why
Yeah.
I thought, oh, it's going to be great. And plus, I was already there when you were there and you had to come in like when I heard what time you were leaving, it was like 3:30 in the morning. You had to be at the church to get on the bus to get to Mexico and go through all this stuff. And so it was a journey to get there for
It
sure.
was. It was. But you know what? It was all so worth it. And the people were really nice. People had not met one another, but we very quickly became friends and very comfortable with one another. And we got the flight, went to Guatemala, and we got there in the afternoon. And when we landed, of course, it was so nice to see you, the familiar face, my only familiar face. Uh, anyway, but it was an experience like no other. And I'm saying that because the country completely different from anything I had ever seen. As from the moment you land, it's a third world country, it's a poor country, it's a Latin American country. I had never been to one of those before. So from the moment got off the plane, things looked different. And yet, it's an experience, it's a feeling. And we went to the hotel. It was a lovely little hotel, really nice. And the cobblestones on the roads were very narrow. It took a while to get to the hotel, but when we got close to the hotel, the roads were cobblestone, and you literally in the bus, literally, vibrating in the bus. And I've been on cobblestone before in Boston and stuff, but this was different, very different, but charming, really charming. The streets were so narrow. The bus was going down the street, and you felt like if you put your hand out, you could touch the wall of that house or touch the wall. But it was amazing, that driver. Oh my goodness me, they were just amazing. Anyway, we got to the hotel, and then we had we had some free time. But my first day was the clinic day, right? The first clinic day was, yeah, it was a very emotional day for me. Even now, I feel like I'm tearing up. But uh, I have seen poverty. I've seen poverty, and I mean, I've seen it firsthand growing up in India. You can't help but see it. But of course, I hadn't lived in it for so many years. I was away. And when we went to this clinic, the people were just waiting for you all to come in, waiting for you doctors and nurses to come in. And everybody walked in, all the doctors, the whole staff, they all walked in with so much enthusiasm and just smiles and just ready to give these people whatever they need. And I'm not in the medical side, so I'm away in one corner with all clothes and stuff that they want to give away.
Well, and that's kind of a crazy story in itself. We could start with that when Nora asked you what, when Nora told you what you were going to be doing, right? That you're going to be
Yeah.
giving away clothes and bras and underwear and all this kind of stuff. You said, "Oh my goodness, I brought a whole suitcase of that." Right? You're the only one who did. You brought all kinds of clothes to give people, and then she asked you to do that without knowing that you had done that.
Yeah, it was just strange because before we left, they said we can only take one little carry-on, and then they said you can take a suitcase. And I thought, okay, I don't need a suitcase. I can live with the one carry-on. So and I'm the World War shopper. I got a friend of mine. I said, please, let's go and get some clothes and just buy different things for different sizes. And she's a great shopper. So she went and we went to the store. Within half an hour, she had done whatever I wanted to do. And then she had some old clothes too, her grandson's clothes. She gave it to me too. So I filled a suitcase with nothing but clothes, bras, underwear, not bras so much, underwear, clothes for the kids, just things like that. So that was my suitcase that I took. Yeah, it was just coincidence. She asked me to do what I had in my suitcase. Yeah, it was nice. But as the people started coming in, the look in their eyes, the look was like, you could see that some of them were sick. They needed help. Then they went and saw you and they saw the other doctors. And as they came out, I had to give them some clothes, whatever clothes I could find to fit them. And I'm not a shopper and I'm just bad at that, but I did the best I could. I gave them what I thought was suitable for them, whatever. And the look in their eyes, we couldn't speak the same language, but we didn't need to. We didn't need to. The look was all that really mattered. It was, it was thank you. It was God bless you. It was just gratefulness. That's what it was. And most of that morning, every time I finished with a patient, and they come and hug you. Every time they walked away, I just couldn't help but cry. I mean, the feeling was just too much. It was so overwhelming, that gratitude they had for the little that we could do for them. And I say little, but for them it was amazing. Whatever you all did, the medicine you gave them, the kind words, the prayers you did for them, it was all amazing. So my first day pretty much was lots of tears. Lots of tears.
Yeah, it's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of emotions, and you
Oh,
think, gosh, and
it
and
was,
part of
and
it, you realize how good we have it. We
yes,
don't appreciate, like we talked about earlier. It's like you don't appreciate your health until it's gone, or until you get a bad diagnosis, or something. You lose a loved one. And so sometimes you just don't realize, wow, these guys, just giving them some underwear or some shorts or shoes that they don't have, whatever it might be.
yes, yes. It was just amazing. Just a feeling. Like I say, I can't put into words other than it was, the gratitude they had was so unbelievable. And for small things. And then I realized, my goodness, what complaints do I have? I have no complaints. I should not have any complaints. When I see this, they've got nothing. They don't have health care. They're so poor. They don't even eat that well. And because of what they don't eat, they can't afford to eat, they have these medical issues. And here we have it all laid out in front of us. And, we don't appreciate it sometimes. Yeah. So, well, I'm
Yeah.
very appreciative of that.
And you saw people get their reading glasses and glasses and,
Oh, my.
just little things like that.
Yes. In fact, I was just telling my son in law, I said, they're so amazing. Okay, so they come in and they've got all these issues. I was telling him about this young boy who had hemophilia and his knees were all swollen. And the clowns carried him from one place to another. Another member of our team carried him from another place to another. And yet his mother was there with him, who was really not well herself. But she wasn't concerned about herself. She was all concerned about her child, the pain he was going through and what he was going through, and no help. And then you all saw the mother and saved her life, right? You'll examined her and found she had some appendicitis or whatever it was, and sent her to the ER, and she underwent the surgery. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was a crazy experience too, because she was just worried about her son. She said, and I was thinking, could this be a tool? Well, pregnancy, what could it be? It could be something unusual. But she was in so much discomfort. But she said, I'll just go home and sleep. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to leave my son. I can't. But their community all pitched in too, right? These poor
yeah,
people all said, I'll watch your kids. We'll take them over here. We'll take, we'll take them to grandma's house, and and so everything got taken care of. And, she would have died in her bed that night,
yeah,
and so when you see that and you could be a part of it, it's pretty
yeah,
rewarding,
yeah. And
and our whole team coming together.
right, right. And all she was worried about her son. And it was so sad to see him. His knees were huge. His knees were huge. And you could see the pain in his eyes. And he was trying to smile.
Mm,
He was smiling, but you could see the pain in his eyes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, it was very, very, very touching. Yeah. So, yeah, there were many, many things like that. And then the glasses, after they get the clothes, they were sent for glasses. And it was like eureka. I mean, they could barely see very well. And they try one pair, they try another pair, and the third one, oh, I can see. It was so amazing, so amazing. And all it was is just a pair of reading glasses. made a world of difference to them. A $1 pair of glasses. Yeah, and oh my gosh, I think of all the things we just
Dan,
did that went.
the little girl said, "Daddy, you could read to me again." Like he couldn't
Yeah,
read to her for 2 or 3 years because his eyes were
his
shot, you know.
eyes.
A
Yes,
dollar
yes.
pair of glasses or $2, whatever it is, you go, wow, that's amazing what we can do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was.
And I know you'll probably get mad at me because I know you're humble, but a lot of people came to and said, "Did you see what Aruna did?" And I said, "What did she do?" And she said, "A lady came in and it was cold and rainy and she took her jacket off and gave it to the lady." Right? Just the kindness that, like, when they say someone will take a shirt off their back, you literally took your coat off your back and gave it to this lady, right?
Well,
To
yeah.
keep her warm.
Yeah, she came in right at the end of the day, and pretty much everything we had for that day was over. And she just needed something. She didn't want a jacket. She didn't want anything in particular. She just wanted something. She just needed that something, I think, to take back home. There was nothing. So yeah, I gave her my coat. But it was
Yeah.
it was just a small gesture. But I'm sure it meant a lot to her. It made her happy. She put a big smile on her face, which was great. That's what we were there for, to make their day. And they
Yeah.
made ours, doctor. They made our day. I mean, 100 times over, 100 times over.
And that's it. And you even mentioned that people would say, "Well, why are you going there? Why did you go to Guatemala? Why did you do that? Like, it's dangerous. It's the and so many people, uh, they think, why would you go? And the reward of seeing that, of being
Oh
a
my
part of that, of what you've done is just you can't explain it. No amount of money can buy that, right?
Correct. And like you say, you can't explain what you feel. It's such a deep feeling. It makes you happy. It makes you content. It makes you okay. At least I shared something. I experienced this thing. Money doesn't buy these kind of experiences. And you can talk. I can tell everybody a lot of things, but till you go and experience it yourself, you really don't know. You really don't know. It
Yeah,
is.
and I think there's so much truth to that. I think it's so, like, people will criticize or they say you're not being responsible, all these other things. But when you see the impact you can make with, just look at that team. I mean, so many different people, and we could talk a couple minutes about the builders. I'm bringing
Oh
Messi
my
on to
gosh,
tell his
yes.
story, but like to see these guys, and maybe you could tell a little bit about them and what they did.
Yeah, these are the guys that came when I was part of the team. I had no idea there would be a construction team. In fact, Heather, when she asked me, "What do you do?" and I said nothing and everything, and then I told her what I do, like I volunteer at the hospital because she had to get an idea where she could fit me, give me some kind of work to do. So I do volunteer at the hospital. I volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. I'm a blood donor, and I do certain things like that. So she said, "Oh, perfect. You do Habitat for Humanity?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "We have a construction team going with us." And I was so excited. I thought she'd put me there with them, even though I'm 74, but I still can do it. Anyway, and we all met at the airport. That's where I met the guys. And I'm sure they met one another for the first time, some of them, right? They were amazing. They worked. Somebody's kitchen was all torn down, they were saying, because of the earthquake years ago. And this family was eating whatever they were doing. There was no kitchen, water was leaking. Oh my goodness. And then they redid their kitchen, you know, and it was functional again for them. And it doesn't have to be fancy, it has to be functional so they can use it every day to cook for the family. And then they built something else for the kids out there. They did so much
Bathroom, they built
construction
a
in the
couple
rain.
bathrooms. Yeah.
Yes, in the rain. And it did pour a couple of times, and they worked through it all. Yes. Next time I'll be on the construction team with them.
Yeah, I know. I was jealous too. Those guys, and it's amazing. Maybe you could say a little bit about, like, when we had our team dinner at the nice hotel, seeing those guys all
Oh my
interacting with
gosh.
each other. Was
These are
that
big,
amazing?
these are big burly guys,
These are big,
strong,
burly, macho
big,
guys.
strong, tough guys. Yeah. And then when they were called to just say whatever they experienced, what they felt, what they did, they were like little babies. They broke down. I mean, the emotion just took over. And it was real natural, just pure emotion.
Yeah, the love these guys developed in that short a time, like several of the guys were Guatemalan that were,
Yes.
and they're thinking, oh, we got to work. They were joking about it. They said we got to work with these gringos. They're going to be lazy. And they all work so hard, and they taught each other. Oh, this is how we do it in Guatemala. Here's how we do it in the United States. No, you do it this way. And it was amazing. They all learned so much. And you know, those guys, they go, if you ever make it to the States, you got a job. You don't even have to apply, nothing. You're hired on the spot
Right.
because they did. And you know, it was so nice they could leave tools behind for these guys to make their life better. There's these they call them framing hammers that they use, that the nails stick on the hammer. They had never seen that, the Guatemalan guys. And so you know, they left it for them. And you know, so many great kind things that they did. And
Yeah.
you know, just eating together and spending time together, and they bonded so amazingly in such a short time. It just shows you when people have a unified um that they're unified, and that they
Yeah.
see the common good of helping
Good.
other people. And
Correct.
so many of us miss out on that opportunity where we're just worried about ourselves. We need a
Yeah.
bigger car, we need a bigger house. I hope this is speaking to some people out there, because what Aruna saw, like, you just
You know.
can't, like, once you see it, you can't get out of your brain.
No, no, you can't. You can't. And it's just, it's so uplifting. It's so uplifting. And I was going to say the American gringos, as the Guatemalan boys were calling these, how they showed the Americans how to work, even though you don't have those particular tools, which is amazing that you can do the same job almost without those fancy tools. So it really, when you think about it, it really doesn't take much. It takes your little bit of time, a little bit of attention, a little bit of caring. That's really what it's all about. You don't even need so much money. It's just, and just a thought of, okay, I'm going to share it with you, or I'm going to give you, I'm going to be there for you. You know, that makes the difference. I think that makes the difference.
Yeah,
When
and
we go ahead.
the other thing is, the whole team, we all feel inadequate in different areas. And so we find our skill set. Like, there was things you could do that no one else on the team could do, right?
Probably.
Just smiling to people and loving on them and being kind, and your smile it lights up the room. You know, we hear that a lot, but in your case, it's true, right?
Oh, thank you.
So, but the compassion, like you said, like, words aren't necessary. When you have a human connection and bond, you don't need the words.
Yeah, you don't. You can see, you can read so much in their eyes. You can feel just their presence when they're close by. They and I can say they all wanted to hug you. They really did. Some of them were not sure whether it was okay. They were not sure for whatever reason. And then the moment you just went forward, oh my goodness, they melted in your arms. It
Yeah,
was,
that
it
human
was,
connection,
yeah,
that you know, the oxytocin, you know, all that. And I was telling people, you know, when we were there, we're eating 3 meals a day, we're eating desserts we wouldn't have, trying different things, and I come back and lose 4 pounds. But I think, and it doesn't make any sense, but I think part of it
right.
is when you're connected and
When you're connected.
you're enjoying each other and you're not stressed, and you really have a team. And
Yeah.
what was your perspective of the accident when we were on the bus?
Oh my goodness me. First, it was, and I was sitting towards the back of the bus where you and a couple of other doctors were. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because I know that the roads are very narrow. And there is, you know, if this, my only thought was, if they go, they will get hit by somebody going by. That was my big fear. But y'all didn't think about that. Y'all did when you
No, I
decided.
did. I did. That was my first thought
Before,
too. I thought,
before
oh,
maybe, but once y'all went, y'all
yeah,
just went, right? Y'all just went there, and all the other stuff y'all needed came to y'all. The driver's wife came, and everybody started, taking stuff off the back. But that was
yeah. And
my fear for you.
Melissa, one of the younger ladies there, jumped in the back, went through everything, pulled out everything we needed, got it to
Yeah,
us, you know. And
yeah,
Mark Hernandez did his magic, and
right.
you know, so people have listened to me talk about that. It was just amazing, you know, the teamwork and how everyone, like, people who didn't need to be involved stayed on the bus, and other people just did their thing. And you know, we
And how y'all were there at the right time. I mean, just the right time. we were supposed to be way ahead of that accident, right? We were supposed to be way, but we got delayed for whatever reason. And there you all were to help them. And those people that you all helped, I'm sure they all survived. They all said they looked pretty good. They didn't, I mean, even though the cars looked really bad, but hopefully they, they'll be so grateful for y'all, to the gringo doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was so nice to us and appreciative
Yeah.
and kind, and even the police don't help. They just stand there. They
I
don't do
know.
anything.
I
And so
know.
it's like, man, I just know like oil pouring out of the cars, like, oh, is it gonna light on fire? What's gonna happen? And
Yeah.
it's just amazing how the team all pitched in and got
Yeah.
these people squared
Yeah.
away. And Mark Hernandez being a hero of mine, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Figueroa, it was really an amazing team. George, controlling the crowd and getting everyone, communicating, figure out what was happening, explains it all to
Yeah.
the police, and to be a benefit, outside of our element was, when we were all just in relaxation mode trying to get back to our hotel, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah, just amazing.
It was a
Amazing.
team effort, really, a team. I think we were a great team. Everything, it just gelled. Everything came together. No big personalities or anything. Just everybody there to help and doing the best they could. It was an experience. It was an experience. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you will do it. You're committed now. No one will
I
go
would
without
love
you
to
next
do it,
year.
honestly. And I
Yeah.
remember my roommate saying, Aruna, when we go out, when we have a free day, we'll be going out, and we tend to walk a little bit fast. So I said, oh, don't worry, it's okay. She said, we are way ahead. I said, no problem. And then I kept them on their toes.
Well, and that's an important thing. And I wouldn't say, but you said you're 74. You busted me for saying my patient's a little older that's going or something. And you go, well, you said that on the podcast. I was like, well, you're a little tiny bit, but you're younger than most people, and the young people couldn't keep up with you. It just
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
that you take care of yourself and you're active and fit. And there we're at an altitude too that doesn't make it easy. You get shorter breath real easy, but
yeah,
you were a trooper, just going, everyone doing everything. And
yeah.
I'm like
I
seeing
was I
pictures of
was
you
having
all out.
fun. I was having fun. And in the evening, when we had time for ourselves to be a little crazy and stuff, yeah, it was wonderful. It was so nice. And thank you for watching out for me, making sure I don't trip on the cobblestones and everything. But it really was. Everybody was really, really nice. And I met some amazing people. And it was really a great experience.
Did
And
anything
I
surprise
and I
you?
hope some people that are on the fence, there are, like you said, there are a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I'd like to, but just make the commitment, say, yes, I'm going to do it. And you'll come back rewarded 100 times over.
Yeah, absolutely true. I
Yeah.
think, and like just like you're saying, everyone feels inadequate, like they're not going to be able to offer. And I've seen people that you think, what in the world do they offer? And then boom, there they are in the middle of it.
Yep.
So yeah, my son committed suicide, and they could talk to that person or whatever
Yes.
they're struggling with. That that
Whatever.
that
Yeah.
is the right person there at the right time.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think so many people say, well, what a coincidence, they were lucky you were there. It's like, well, sometimes there's more involved than that.
Yeah.
I don't think these things just randomly happen.
No.
Sometimes when
No.
you have the
No.
right person, like you bringing all your stuff and they ask you to do that to share clothes with people, that's of all the jobs they could have had, that was that one for
I
you, right? And
know.
they knew. And so, it's just amazing. But any job they picked for you would have done great because you just love people, and that was very apparent.
I would have loved to do anything. Honestly, like I said, I was ready for anything. But yeah, they gave me an easy job, which was fine. It was fine. Not something I love to do, but as I kept doing it and I kept looking at these faces with so much gratitude and so happy to take a little something, made my day, made my day. So
Yeah,
I
and you
could
made theirs, it's amazing. It's just amazing how it all works, the positivity, everything's positive and good. And, you're in a lot of suffering, but you bring peace to who you can.
yes, yes, yes. And you find that peace also within that. You find peace for yourself. That brings you a lot of peace. I really feel that way. I
Yeah.
really.
And at the clinic, I remember before we were getting ready for the clinic, and it was not the last one, the second to last clinic when we got the rain in the afternoon. And I was up on the roof and looking down, I could see all the people, and they were praying for us, our team and our families and all that. It's just pretty amazing. Oh, I think we lost Aruna for a second here. Our internet. Let me pause for a second. Jack, you can cut this part out. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember that, Aruna, with the people were actually a big group of people were just praying over our clinic and our families and us.
Oh, I did not witness that, but I heard about it. I must have been inside when that happened. Yes, yes. Yeah. And then, that makes such a difference. Brings us together, I think, when we come together like that, pray. I mean, we all have a common God, whatever it is, Allah, whatever, Jesus, whoever. But and we all have that spirituality in us, I think. How we manifest it is different people do it in different ways. It doesn't make it better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah, and I think that was the amazing thing because we had one guy who was Muslim heritage and different people of Catholic heritage and
Yeah,
Buddhist heritage. And so like when you have people and you bring together and you go, look, we're all serving the same people. We have humanity, and I
correct.
think that's one thing is we've used religion to divide so much and to
Oh,
to
yeah,
fight or race or whatever it is. But
yeah,
to see all these different people come together, and make a beautiful
yeah.
tapestry.
It really was. It really was. And I mean, I could see that there were a few different people. Yeah. And it was fine. We just blended. I think we just blended so well. We just blended so well. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything that surprised you, or was there one thing that you say, "Wow, that really surprised me that I wasn't expecting"?
I'm trying to think. I, I, I don't think anything really surprised me, Doctor. It just brought back how fortunate we are here in America, because like I said, I've seen poverty. I mean, I grew up in India. You don't have to step 2 steps outside your door and you can see it. It's just that I've been away for so many years that, it came back. But no, nothing surprised me. It was, no, I don't think anything surprised me. It was just a great, great experience to relive that, to be there, to be part of it, and to see everybody doing whatever such good y'all did for those patients. Oh my goodness, how many patients y'all saw, and y'all saw all right to the very end.
That
Yeah,
we did. That
lots.
we did. You were part of that,
Yes, we did.
just
We
loving
did.
on people and being kind and
Yes, yes,
just
yes. It was amazing.
did
Yeah.
you learn anything about yourself, do you think? Was there anything that you surprised you about yourself or something that you
Uh,
on the
it-
trip that brought something else out of you that you haven't tapped into or anything?
and that's something. All it made me want to do is just do more. I feel I got a lot to give. I really feel I have a lot to give. So I just try to do a little, well, try and do a little bit more. I enjoy. I'm a giver. I guess I am a giver in more ways than one. I I love donating blood. And anybody listening, if you can be a blood donor, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give somebody. And the nice part about it, I always say, is you're giving somebody who doesn't know you, you don't know them, and yet you're saving a life. You're giving them something that money can't buy. you know it's such a wonderful feeling when you go and donate blood. So if anybody's listening, please try and donate some blood, because we are so short of blood. And it doesn't matter what blood group you are. You can do whole blood, you can do I do apheresis, but you can give, you can help. That's why I say you don't have to go too far to give. It's all around you. You can give in small ways and big ways anyway. There is always opportunity to share the little bit we have. And my mother always told me, and all these things come back to me. She used to say, you should give till it hurts. And then she said, it doesn't mean money. Not everybody has money, but we all have something to give. Your time, your kind word, whatever you can give. So I try to live up to that.
Yeah, you
she,
definitely live up to that.
she lived to be 95, up and about, right till the very end. So I'm hoping I'll be something like her. But all the words, what our parents tell us when we are young, we don't pay attention so much. And yet they're so profound. And now as we get older, we think, oh my God, that's what she said. And that's what she meant. And that was perfect. That's the right thing.
Yeah,
right? So,
sometimes things don't make you don't understand the wisdom till you get older. You have a life
correct,
situation. Now you say, now I get what they were saying
correct,
way back then. Did it
correct,
make sense? Like
correct.
maybe some of the stuff we're saying, people say, wow, that doesn't make sense. And one day it will make sense when they realize they're in a position
It's
to save someone or give of themselves.
just, yes. And sharing makes you feel so good, whatever it is. Sharing makes you feel so good. Yes. So,
Now, Runa, I have to ask you, what is life's best medicine for you? Where do you go when things are hard, when you're challenged? Like what keeps you getting out of bed and moving and where do you go when times are hard? How do you get through the hard times for people listening who may struggle in this area?
oh, and I'll say I've had some pretty dark days sometimes. But you know what? I always say it'll get better. And my mother was a great motivator for me. Lots of things she said to me as a child, they all come back. She used to tell me two things. She said, two things in this life have no end. One is prayer, and the second, your education. She says, two things have no end. And I so believe her. I so believe her. And she was a very, very shrewd woman. Very, very. She was a woman before her time, well before her time. Yeah. So I try to live up the simple things that she used to tell me. And she said, you don't, when you get up in the morning, you don't need to pray and say all these prayers. Offer your whole day, whatever it is, just offer it up. And I try to do those kind of things. And I enjoy my music. I like to sit quiet sometimes and just put some headphones on and listen to some music. But now, honestly, I listen to Low Carb MD and other podcasts for low carb because I'm not only feeling like it's helping me at that moment, but it's opening my mind up to many little things because the guests are so amazing. Your guests are so amazing. And I don't know, I just feel I learn a little something all the time. Yeah. But
That's great. Yeah, keep learning, keep striving, love people, be kind to each other. That's one thing I always say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, everyone listening, because it matters. It makes a difference, that smile.
yeah.
Aruna taking off her jacket and giving it to someone, even though she didn't make a big deal, people saw that. They see how you act. They see your character.
Uh,
Your kids see your character. Your grandkids see your character. And that's really something that so many people have sacrificed, right? Because they want to have a bigger car, or they'll sell out their fellow man. And we even saw it in Guatemala where people would take advantage of our poor bus driver, where he has to pay the gangs every 15 days in
oh
order
my
to
gosh.
not be killed,
That
and when you
was,
start realizing, we have a pretty good, despite our faults,
yes.
and when we can all come together and start realizing that we could do great things. And just like the story you said about you and your sister, instead of just sitting there, you start dancing, and then all of a sudden you have 6 or 8 people that in different countries, and you could all come together, right, and make yourselves better and enjoy each other and smile and laugh and all this stuff. So
Just helping through that few, just getting through those few minutes, making it a little easier because that COVID was, for me, it was extremely difficult. And mind you, I'm at home with my daughter, her husband, and kids, but it still was that just you felt so isolated.
mhm.
You just felt so hard. It was so hard. For me, it was very difficult. So that little dancing, spending time together a little bit was, I think, uplifting. And I had to do it early in the morning. So for me, it was early in the morning, 7:30. For them, it was 4 in the afternoon, whatever time. But we found and also because, like you said, we were in so many different countries, but we found a common time. We can always find that. We can always find that. A
Yeah,
common ground. We can always find a common ground. Yeah. We're
it doesn't
different, but we're similar in more ways than one.
doesn't get any better than that. Find your common ground, find let's not divide each other. We got to figure out how to work together. We all have to, do our best. And there's so many good people that have different views, different perspectives. And that's why I believe strongly it's like, hey, let's bring people on with different views, different perspectives, and let's talk and try to understand each other rather than shut each other up and censor each other. And
Correct.
so, yeah, that's life's best medicine. Having people like you, and like you said, we all take a little piece of the people we meet, and we take
Oh
little
my
little
gosh.
lessons and little things that your mom said all those 70 years ago, you remember. So it's just amazing the impact we can have with positivity and just coming together. So Aruna, I'm glad I dragged you on. I'm so glad. Look at you. She thought she wasn't going to have anything to say, and look at how much wisdom she shared with us all. So this is
Uh,
good stuff.
I hope it reaches some people, and I hope somebody benefits. And I hope somebody makes up their mind and goes on one of these missions. They'll come back a better person.
Yeah, and I'd say, hey, if you're interested, look up the Merlot Foundation, the
Yes,
merlotfoundation.org.
yes,
They're doing great work. They're great people, and it's grassroots, and they're on the ground. They
correct.
have dentists there and doctors like year round. It's not just us going there, and they have locals that can really reach people, and they're doing great stuff. So a couple bucks here and there, it does make a
It
huge,
helps.
huge impact. So.
Yeah.
And then Aruna will go down next year again and check and make sure everything's being spent wisely.
Yes, 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 yes. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And yeah, I just hope more people, get out of their comfort zone. And I say get out of the comfort zone doesn't mean it's uncomfortable out there. Believe me, it's not. It was fun. It really was. You experience a different culture. You experience a different group of people that you had never met before. And for me, it was difficult because I tend to be a little bit shy, a little bit reserved. But it was a wonderful experience in the end. Wonderful experience. And maybe they'll put me on the construction crew next
All
time.
right, guys, you heard it. Big construction guys are gonna have to step down, let Aruna swing the hammer.
Oh, well, anyway, all in all, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. We would greatly appreciate a positive thumbs up on all of the platforms like iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're listening. And we just thank you for our Patreon supporters. We greatly appreciate your help in getting this message out. We think there's a lot of important information. And hopefully this helps you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.